We don't need to tell you that the KKK was a horrible organization. You already know that, but do you know why it started? Well, after the Civil War, the South was in a state of terror. The end of slavery had many white Southerners fearing for their way of life, and when former enslaved people started exercising their newly acquired freedoms, some white folks got real scared. They were afraid of what this new world would look like and how it would impact their power and status, so they created an organization to fight against these changes, and that's where the KKK came in. But before we continue, make sure to follow our channel. Now let's get into the video. The Ku Klux Klan was formed in Pulaski, Tennessee, in 1865 by 6 Confederate veterans. They wanted to keep the South white and keep former enslaved people in their place. Now you might be thinking, wait, didn't the Civil War just end? Yeah, it sure did. But these guys were still angry about losing the war, and they were really scared about what was happening in the South. After the Civil War, former enslaved people were finally free, and that meant that they could travel, own property, and even vote. This was a big deal because for the first time in their lives, they had the same rights as white people. Well, not all people. The KKK didn't think that former enslaved people should have the same rights as white people. They wanted to use violence to scare them into submission. The KKK started out as a social club for Confederate veterans, but soon they began to target African Americans and anyone who supported their rights. They would beat, torture, and even kill people they saw as threats. In the beginning, the KKK didn't have a leader. It was a decentralized organization with local chapters operating on their own, but as it grew, it became more organized and powerful. One of the first things the KKK did was to target black leaders. They killed hundreds of African American politicians, teachers, and activists. They also attacked white people who supported civil rights for blacks. Between 1865 and 1871, the KKK grew rapidly. By 1867, there were an estimated 200,000 members. That's a lot of people, and they were all united in their goal of creating a white supremacist society. The KKK used violence and intimidation to achieve their goals. They would burn down schools and churches and even entire towns. They also used political violence to try to take over the government. In the 1860s, the KKK was able to get several members elected to public office, but their efforts to take over the government ultimately failed. So why did the KKK rise? Well, it's complicated. The end of slavery and the rise of racial violence in the United States created an environment in which the KKK could flourish. White Southerners were afraid of what was happening in the South, and they created the KKK to fight back. But at its core, the KKK was a hate group. Its members were driven by racism and a desire for power. As the United States changed and became more integrated, the KKK's power waned, but its legacy of hate and violence continues too. This day, the KKK is still around today, although it's much smaller than it was in the past, but that doesn't mean that it's any less dangerous. The KKK is a reminder of the evils of racism and the importance of fighting for equality and justice for all people. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.